Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's May 22nd. Right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see our system here that was out over the Pacific Ocean yesterday is now moving across portions of Oregon. It did bring some lightning strikes here recently as well. Nothing for California yesterday, but we will be taking a look at what's coming up. We may change that up a bit here as we do have some interesting weather kind of showing up here a little bit. And I'll go over that in some detail here as we go through the video here today, and a possible warm-up also. So this is the last 24 hours. Lightning strikes, you can see, confined to Oregon, nothing across California, Nevada, Utah, or Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, for that matter, yesterday, at least what we can see. And if you guys want your own home weather station that detects lightning, this thing is very great. I've got two of these that I test. They're very fun, and it's probably the best you can do for the price, unless you want to spend thousands of dollars on more expensive weather equipment. So click on that link down below if you want to save 10% off on one. So visible satellite imagery right now, if I scroll back, you can see the sun rising across the region here, and you can see that marine layer kind of moving in there across some of Los Angeles, Metro, San Diego, butting up against some of the coastline. But look at the central coast, nice and sunny. The Bay Area is right here. They're more of a mixed bag as you go up Northern California, but the interior areas are fairly sunny as well. You can see the snow-capped Sierra Nevada. You can see the valley areas of the Sacramento, the San Joaquin Valley carved out nicely there, but not much to speak of in the way of fog across the valley areas this morning. So taking a wider view of things, again, you can see that system across the Pacific Northwest kind of swinging through there, but really no precipitation across the state of California as we speak right now. This is kind of an aviation look at things. Now, if you want to send me your weather images and whatnot, you can do so on the Patreon page. That link is also down below as well. And you don't have to, it doesn't cost anything. You can become a free member and whatnot, or you can support the channel here as well. So looking at thunderstorms here, you can see that is off across Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. Nothing for California coming up, but it may be changing here over the next couple of days, and I'll show you the weather models on that here in a moment. Elevated fire weather conditions, that is for today. Today's the 22nd there, dispose of things correctly and watch out for some of these gusty winds out there, a little bit of low relative humidity action going on. And also, I thought I'd share this Las Vegas, Nevada one here. Look at this. We might hit 100 degrees for the first time this year, starting to warm up a bit here as we go towards the second half of May. And here's Phoenix and portions of southeast California as well. Yuma, El Centro, there's Blythe and Globe out there. Pretty darn right warm here today. Look at these 106, 105 El Centro coming at 106, Blythe at 105. Probably not records, but still quite warm for this time of year. Bit of a cool down coming here this weekend, relatively speaking. You're still quite warm, but then maybe a little bit of a bounce back after. And then we're going to be watching next week because we have a fairly good chance of starting to warm up yet again. Now, looking at composite reflectivity over the next 60 hours, I'm going to go through this. You can kind of see just getting clipped there as that system went through. So it may have spawned a light shower there this morning, but again, didn't produce lightning strikes, probably didn't amount to too much if I had to guess. And then we scroll on into the day today. Maybe a stray shower across some of Northern California, across the higher terrain. We go on in through Friday coming up here as well. Maybe another stray shower there as well. Can't rule out a couple lightning strikes with this activity on the day Friday. And then you can see Friday evening and Friday night. Some of this activity comes off the eastern Sierra Nevada, it looks like, and you could get a few lightning strikes with that action as well. There's Tonopah, Nevada there, and you can see Reno would be up here. There's Lake Tahoe. And then we scroll on in towards Saturday, and I'll show you some more on that here in a moment. But take a look at the wind speeds as well. Of course, you got that pretty typical northwest wind down the coastal areas here. And then when we go on into the afternoon, you can see some of these winds pick up across the Sierra Nevada and across some of the higher terrains. You get down towards the transverse range, southern Sierra Nevada, and some of the desert areas start to gust a bit there. And if I back this up, you'll notice some of these surges that come through some of the terrain features near the Bay Area, and these can spill out into the valley areas. So if you live on the east sides of some of those terrain gaps between the Bay Area and some of those valley areas, you know about these winds that can kick up. And you can actually see it kind of comes in and turns a little bit out of the south there for Sacramento, and it's diving down the valley out of the north as you go by Modesto and Fresno and all the way down towards Bakersfield here as we go on in through tonight. So kind of an interesting terrain feature that plays out there across the valleys of California versus the Bay Area and those terrain features there, some of the gaps as well. And then we scroll on there. It looks like we're only through hour 21 on the 12Z North American model. That's running as we speak. So taking a look at temperatures here, this is for today, 22nd of May. You can see some low to mid 90s out there for the valley areas. Southern California, you're dealing with some pretty warm temperatures, especially get across some of the foothill areas, and then you go into the desert areas as well. Of course, you're going to be a little bit cooler along the immediate coastline. And then we go on through Friday. This is tomorrow. We cool things down a little bit there, and then we go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, kind of keeping things, not too excessively hot. Then we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But look what happens as we go towards the end of the following week. There's May 30th. Again, we see some of those hundreds trying to creep back in there for some of the valley areas of California. The desert area is quite hot as well. Look at that widespread 100-degree readings showing up as we go through Saturday. So we'll be watching that. Looks like a ridge is going to be trying to build in here. So if we take a look at that, this is 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. So there goes that system that was swinging through. Then we deal with this next bit of a ridge that tries to build in here, but there's still kind of this upper level low hanging around there, suppressing temperatures a bit. We bring this next system, it gets a little bit closed across the state of California, and that could be unleashing some instability, especially for some of the higher terrain, as this ridge is well up across Alberta there. You can see Montana's right there. And then we start to really amplify this ridge, and that's when things would warm up more dramatically. But again, there's going to be this upper level low around. We'll see if that's going to be kicking off some instability. Again, we're looking at over a week out in the forecast right now, so you want to take that with a grain of salt. But the models continue to show a robust ridge kind of building along the west coast of North America. Is that going to replenish itself as we go off into the future? Who knows? That's something we'll be watching as we go on into the future. Then look at this trough trying to drop down as we go through early June. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So if we scroll through here, a wider view of things, I should probably actually zoom into the state of California. That's what we're going to do right here because we want to see that in a little bit more detail here. Let's go to states in California. And as we go through Friday afternoon, you see a few showers again across the higher terrain there. So you can't rule out a lightning strike or two with some of that activity on Friday. Then we go Saturday. Looks like maybe a few showers. Again, confined to the higher terrain. There we go to Saturday afternoon. We go on in through Sunday. Again, maybe a shower or two. But again, they're fairly isolated, as you can see. And then as we go on into next week, we get that upper level low kind of hanging around here. You can kind of see how this is bringing some precipitation across Northern California. Even tries to bring some light rainfall towards the Bay Area, the Sierra Nevada. Some of the coastal rains start to pick up a little bit of action as well. Those could have thunderstorms associated with them. So we're going to be watching that closely. Again, this is on through next week. So we have some time to continue to look at this. And if we look at this is not the artificial intelligence, this is the European ensemble mean. So if we take a look at the extended forecast, I just want to kind of see the amplification of this ridge that's still showing it. There's some hint of it, but then it gets going again, towards the end of the month. There's the 30th and then the 31st, that ridge hanging around. Will it replenish itself? How long will we deal with that? Who knows? But some above average heights as we go into the early portion of June. Now looking at temperature anomaly. So here we go as we go through the 28th, 29th. We start to go on in towards the end of the month, and again you can kind of see how much of the state kind of flips to some pretty dramatically above normal temperatures here as we go on in through the early portion of June from the late portion of May. This is a 5-day 2-meter temperature anomaly there. You can see the dates up to the upper right there as well. So yeah, probably a warm up coming at some point next week. And if we take a look here, 6 to 10 day, this now includes the end of May, and you can see the above average conditions there for the west coast, kind of a near normal signal there for California, same time period. The 8 to 14 days still the above normal here across much of the west, and kind of near normal, but some below normal starting to show up there as we go towards the early portion of June. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.